Every so often a game comes along that introduces something new, and it makes you think every game moving forward needs to include this. And I can't think of a better example of that than the absolutely horrendous VR experience Crisis on the Planet of the Apes from back in 2018. It really only did one thing well, and that was the mechanic where you could grab onto surfaces and drag the world with your hand to pull yourself in and out of cover. Well, somehow it took 3 years, but someone finally took this concept and ran with it, giving us what could be considered the most anticipated PSVR game of the summer, Fracked.
It's evidence. Will help us find out what's going on.
Diving into Fracked for the first time is a pretty unbelievable experience. First of all, it just looks stunning. The resolution and frame rate scale with the platform you're on, so on the PlayStation 5, it's one of the best looking games you've ever seen in the headset. But some of that has to do with the art style too. It's a little bit Telltale, a little bit Borderlands, but with the color saturation turned way up. Combine all of that with impressive draw distances, and sometimes I found myself stopping mid-level just to admire what the artists at End Dreams have created here. The sound design is no slouch either. Fracked desperately wants to be a blockbuster action movie from the early 90s, so expect a pretty flimsy story, but with solid voiceovers, good music, and great sound effects. And luckily, you'll never be pulled out of the action to watch some long, drawn-out cutscene either. All of the dialogue and story beats are delivered in real time as you play.
There you have it. Story of my life.
But somehow all the AAA production values pale in comparison with the gameplay. The controls are absolutely spot on, using the most refined version of the Saints and Sinners movement scheme we've seen thus far. But it's when you get into firefights with the Fracked that the aforementioned Planet of the Apes cover system comes into play, and I honestly don't think gunplay in VR has ever felt this good. You probably won't be aiming down the sights in Fracked, it's just not that kind of game. Fracked is far more fast-paced and furious than the more technical shooters on the market. Reloading your weapon follows suit too, with a quick arcade-like version of manual reload, where the game just places the clip for you. All you have to do is shove it into the gun and yank the slide, which probably only takes a second to pull off, and you can do it every time flawlessly.
Looks like we have company.
The non-stop action doesn't stop at gunplay either. There are sections where you ski, zip lines are practically everywhere, but most impressive are the climbing sections. Now, we've all climbed things before in VR, from Blood and Truth to Immortal Legacy to Arashi, but Fracked takes it to near uncharted levels of intensity. Holding on for dear life over a 100-foot drop is one thing, but things get especially crazy when ladders are breaking and vehicles are teetering on the edge of cliffs while you shimmy your way over to safety. But I hear you. You're saying, Brian, I already scrubbed to the end of your review, and you didn't give it a perfect score. So, what went wrong? Well, first, enemies have zero sense of self-preservation. While you, the player, are constantly taking cover, blind firing, and peering around corners, the Fracked aren't nearly as strategic. They generally run right out into the open for you to shoot them. And frequently, some areas will start feeling suspiciously like a wave shooter, where it's obvious the game is just sending wave after wave of reinforcements to stretch out the campaign. There's also only 2 main weapons, the pistol and the SMG. There are 3 others that you can pick up and use, but the game deems them a little too powerful for you to keep, so you can't add them to your inventory, and once they're out of ammo, they simply vanish. There's no melee attack, no grenades, no inventory at all, really. So as fantastic as the cover-based stuff feels, the gameplay starts getting a little shallow about halfway through. Which leads us to the elephant in the room, how long it takes to finish Fracked. Playing on normal my first time through took a mere 2 hours and 30 minutes, and I wasn't rushing through by any stretch of the imagination. I took my time, explored every corner for hidden coins, and made sure to collect all the ammo I could before heading into a new area. Luckily there's a hard mode and a platinum trophy to go for if you really want to try to get your money's worth. But once you roll credits, that's it. No challenges, no bonus scenes, no nothing.
To be done.
As I mentioned earlier, Fracked desperately wants to be a big blockbuster summer movie, and to that degree it's basically a success. But like a lot of action flicks, I never cared about the characters or their plight. The story was just background noise while it was shooting bad guys and blowing stuff up. So the question you have to ask yourself is the same question that I've been asking myself while writing this review. Does a short 2.5-hour runtime ruin what is otherwise a must-play action game? The answer I've settled on is no, but I do feel cheated, and that's an awful feeling to have after playing something that's so amazing.